Nice tuxedo. Nice tuxedo to die in.
Have you ever wanted to watch Buddy Holly and Slash have a kung fu rock battle for the fate of humanity? Have you watched Mad Max or Fist of the North Star and thought, why can't this have more electric guitars? Have you ever wanted to see the mashup of genres taken to the extreme? Red Dawn meets Top Secret, meets a spaghetti western meets Mad Max meets Streets of Fire meets Buckaroo Banzai, and The Eighth Dimension meets King of the Kickboxers? Well, I have the story for you. In the age after the fall of Hong Kong to those damned filthy pink communists, a man, groomed for greatness by Jackie Chan himself, made one last love story to Hong Kong cinema with Americana stylings before riding off into the sunset with his gonzo director best friend, a silent protagonist in a world post-nuclear apocalypse teams up with an orphan boy on a quest to reach Las Vegas and succeed Elvis as the next king of Las Vegas. They are hounded by cannibals, wasteland bandits, bounty hunters, fellow guitarist samurai, the Red Army, and even Death himself, with only a katana, a hollow body rockabilly guitar, and the way of the samurai to overcome the odds. It's a labor of love. Hong Kong-trained American actor Jeffrey Falcon, longtime friend Lance Mungia put together the craziest mashup of genres since Buckaroo Banzai in this action-adventure comedy cult classic with a shoestring budget. These people squeezed blood out of a stone, then made it rock. It's not the greatest apocalyptic film, it's not the greatest rock film, it's not the greatest action-adventure comedy, it's not the greatest kung fu film, and it's not the greatest homage to Americana, but it is the greatest apocalyptic action-adventure comedy kung fu rock homage to Americana in history. It's Buckaroo Banzai for millennials, the little samurai that could, and 90 minutes of a good time. It's Six String Samurai, 1997.
79T 2458 Learning Corp. Little Red Riding Hood. Take one.
"40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone." Does that make sense?
Where they say there are Indian people pooping on our beach.
It's a spool of wire. 40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone.
There's been some changes going on around here, fellas. Hey, how's it going? Welcome. Yeah, this movie has everything. Dude, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. I have to finish the video on it. The script's already done, the audio's already done. I just have to add the footage to it. I had a brief delay because, you know, releasing 3 books in 3 months is a really stupid idea, and King of the Kickboxers decided to come back with the DMCA lockdown. Hey, you know, stuff happens. Plus the fact that, dude, this goofy AI slop channel came out with a Gattaca video a week before mine, or a week after mine. 3 times the amount of views. Oh, such a demoralizing thing. Did you know they're talking about genetics? It's like, did you know you can go F yourself? All right. Let's get the coffee going. Let's get in there. So you kind of can tell from, if you can't tell from the episode title, it's going to be more about adaptation, but I'm going to start this one with, I don't know if I want to start with the story. You know what? I'll start with the preamble. It's one of those things that came up in the red pill because a lot of guys were arguing and bitching about, if you don't have this, you can't offer that. If you don't have this, you can't offer that. And it was just very annoying. And it's like every, you know, internet subculture. It mostly turns into posturing and like baby talk from the moderator team, posturing talk from the losers on the bottom, and then the clueless ones in the middle, just like, can't we all get along? And you're just like, no. And that's a Gervais principle thing. But what eventually kind of came around was the understanding that, Young people have no idea what they're doing. They can't really offer anything. Oh, we understand crypto and stuff. It's like you don't have the insight to know what a rug pull is. Right? Like, I'm not saying you don't learn, but I'm saying in a general principle, if you got a Zoomer telling you what to do, probably doesn't know what he's talking about. No historical reference, no experience. On the same time, and before the boomers start getting all fucking, yay, just remember, the old people have no idea what they're doing either. Because they were raised in a different time. And I know what is the saying? The saying might be the right one. I think it's the way it goes. But there's an age where people just stop adapting to the world. Some people say it's the age that you have kids. Some people say it's just the age that you get your first job. Some people say it's, whatever. It doesn't really matter what age. But there's a certain age where you're kind of locked temporally into that. So... like in Canada, for example, a lot of the people that are pro-Trudeau are anti-Harper, and Harper's been out of office for like 10 years. They're still arguing about a time that no longer exists. Now, so that means the old people are offering you advice for something that doesn't exist anymore. It's outdated. So if the boomers can't offer anything, and the Zoomers can't offer anything, what's left? And really, the answer really is adaptation. It's the new skill. It's the new survival trait. Because things are moving, and things are moving fast. Things are moving very fast. Countries are up and coming and going. I like to think of Canada now as the new Rhodesia. Watching our two elected leaders sitting here talking about, I like the welfare immigrants. I like the productive immigrants. And you're just like, holy jeez. Like the days that I remember. This is the Canada I remember. Is like, parents having a party in the other room. The smell of Pilsner wafting through the house. Logging, mining, oil riggers, working people, plumbers building the CN Tower, like all that stuff there, that's gone. That's generations gone. At this point now, where even the money's gone. $1 trillion left our economy. So it's pretty... Anyways, I'm not just saying this to bum people out, but what I'm saying is, like... And that's just... Like, I'm not an old man by any stretch of the imagination. And the fact that in living memory, I can show you 2 separate times that no longer exist, that's fast. I don't think the human body is designed to deal with that. I really don't. So yeah, you have to adapt. And the one thing, and to bring this back to the Rule Zero and the red pill thing, the one thing I do enjoy about this is that aside the getting laid, aside the relationship stuff, there really is a talent that comes out of this, a talent to observe the landscape as it is, not as you want it to be, not as it used to be, not as it should be, but as it is. Orient yourself to, like, out of this, what can I navigate to be my best proposition, make a decision on that, and then act on it. And then be willing to reflect on whether those actions were beneficial or not beneficial. Did my ego make me make stupid decisions? Was it actually a great decision? I need to double down on it. That kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying that every example of a red pill guy has gone through that. By no means. In fact, 80% of the time, I'll point to a guy who's like a cautionary tale. It's like, look at this guy. See this guy? Don't do that. Yeah, but he thought he was alpha. It's like, the fact that he's phrased it that way should let you know already. Should have already let you know. He was set up for failure, man. Okay, let me take a look at the chat right now. How you guys doing? Good day. Have a good one. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. But does the movie have gratuitous nudity? No, Creamy. That's the part that annoyed me because I loved having that gratuitous nudity for no reason other than it's awesome in the lines. And a nice shirt, white. Yeah, lucky logger. I'm extra nostalgic today. I've had this in my closet for like a year. I just haven't worn it because I'm like, what's the point of wearing like an 80s beer shirt from a very, very regional brand? I don't think anybody outside of Vancouver Island really knows about Lucky. I could be wrong. But I remember in BC, like Kokanee would be the one to see. On Vancouver Island, it was Lucky. In Alberta, I remember Pilsner was big. It's everywhere, but Pilsner was big there. And Toronto, Steam Whistle seems to be the thing. I was feeling something's off. Yeah, no Hawaiian shirts, no colored glasses. It's just naked old me here. Oh. If I get a bit navel-gazy this one, bear with. So it's funny. I finally got it in the mail. The hardcover of Fuck Files. Holy shit. Yeah, look at this. This thing is awesome. I've included the hidden 13th chapter. I didn't realize this. I never thought about this, but this is actually my best-selling book out of all of them. And I didn't even, and it's been out for longer, but it just is. It's crazy. Pre-sales, book sales. Yeah, it's just, and I don't think I give it enough respect. Anyways, so the reason I'm showing this is, first off, the re-release is scheduled for 30th of January or 1st of February, something like that. Grab yourself a copy. The new paperback will be done, new cover design, new material inside of it. It's a complete update. It's a 3rd edition. The hardcover as well, and the Kindle. The reason I'm showing you the hardcover right now is because of this. Because of this. What is this? The fuck is this? Just some beat up book covered in coffee stains. So this is a night orders book. It's a log. Officers use it when they're writing the log or the journal for the next watch to take over. So yeah, night order book. From your ship and that. It's official like military gear. It's got a NATO stock number, all that stuff. But when I was doing the thing for Fuck Files, I'm like, you know what? I want to put the memories of this into this. So I've literally, like, I've even recreated the coffee stains and the ink stains. The ink stains from my Sheffer 300, my fancy $300 pen that I bought when I was deploying. You know what? Every communicator needs a pen. I want to make sure mine is goddamn good. Recreated all that stuff. Amazon really, like, they've only just started adding hardcovers like in the last year or so, but they've really done an amazing job with the print quality. Like, I am happy. I am impressed. Like, it's, I don't know. I just love it. Anyways, so the reason I'm bringing that up is because Fuck Files will be out. I'm using a new pseudonym for that one. It's now R.A. Stone, or just R. Stone, because I want to make sure that the praxeology stuff is separate from the fiction stuff. And so I'm moving the Fuck Files over to the fiction stuff. It's going to be a precursor to Dog Walker, which is coming out 2 weeks later. And a lot of you guys have been hounding me to finish the hardcovers, and I keep putting it off and promising. And so, yeah, this is my way of saying thank you for your patience. And holy shit. Is that who I think it is? Oh my God. It's Johnny Bravo. €4, 99-cent super chat. Johnny Bravo. Dude, how's family life treating you? Looking like a writer today, Ryan. Haha. Which delicious tacos book would you recommend most and why? The reviews are confusing after yours. Well, I can 100% say, and now for some good news. I've even got... Yeah, finally some good news. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. You'll love it. He even sent me he even signed my copy. Like, how awesome is that? Of course, he drew a big vagina on top of it, but whatever. That's exactly on brand. And then whoever Courtney is. Yeah, it's, so it's not a long read. It's actually pretty, like, bite-sized novella style, but, oh, it's just the idea of a guy going through the apocalypse as, like, a sexless loser and then coming into his own and figuring it out. And then the details he adds, just amazing. Like, I remember at one point he saw, like, one of the Mad Max convoys with, like, 15-year-old girls chained up to, like, a grape gang or whatever. And he's like, dude, the apocalypse happened 5 days ago and they've already got grape gangs roaming the streets. What the hell? Anyways, it's good. And it also has, like, it's got good character development. It doesn't meander around. It doesn't spend eons world building to kind of bore you with the things. And I am a hard person for a writer to make a fan. I don't know if it's ADHD. I don't know if it's just modern books suck right now. I don't know what it is. But I find, like, excessive exposition to be absolutely annoying. I find the guys who talk more about world building than the characters or the plot drive me nuts too. So maybe I'm not reading them right. Maybe I am. And if I am, it really is a good one. The Pussy was good too, but the Pussy is closer to Fuck Files. So it's a good read, but it's like a collection of short stories, which, to be fair, a lot of books, especially from, like, the old school authors like Hemingway and that, were collections of short stories that they had submitted to various publications and that. You know? Why the subs aren't increasing, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, sir. I don't have ghost subs, so I can live with that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I got one more merch thing to go through, and then we'll get to it. So you'll never guess what I'm going to talk about now. Oh, I love this thing. I love this thing. I actually read it. Oh, I'm reading it again. It's actually a longer book than I wanted it to be. I think it clocked in at just around 80,000, which I was aiming for 70. Because I find at 70,000 is the perfect zone where you don't have to like rush things, but at the same time, somebody can keep the concept of the whole book in his head at a single, like you could sit down and not be like with Lord of the Rings. I mean, you've seen that one, but when it first came out, it was hard to remember what happened at the beginning of the book when the end of the book came around. You had to read it multiple times. Funny enough, no dogs. No dogs in the book. Book called Dog Walker? No dogs? Yeah, I know. I know. And then, of course, still going strong. Dude, I did not expect this actually to be as... Like, I knew it would do okay, but I didn't know how well it would do. So this is like a huge thank you to guys for Praxeology Volume 3. Just, like in the same way I was talking about the collection of short stories, like The Pussy and that, this one here, but for case studies and field reports of red pill guys going through their thing, I'm honored you guys got as much enjoyment out of it as you did. It's a labor of love. It's a labor of love. And I just thank you. It's on sale, by the way, on Kindle, Amazon. I think I'm even putting it on I can't remember if the Kobo stuff's good or not. I have to check. I actually have a Kobo store, but it's such like a dismal market. I don't look into it much. I know Fuck Files is on there, and I know the Dog Walker is going to be on there, but I have to check for the Praxeology series. Okay. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. Let's get a little palate cleanser. Let's put the old tart on.
Boom, what's up fam? Got some big news to share that unfortunately is not so good, so I'm gonna jump right into it. You're gonna watch this video and you're gonna cry. At least we can laugh at your eyes as you cry looking in the corner like a little girl in the fetal position.
Bless that stupid man. Audible, I'm recording the audio. I still have to record the audio for Prax Volume 3. The new edition of Fuck Files, I guess I should have to, because there is some changes. I got to look to see if I can just augment what's already there, or if I have to redo it from scratch. If I redo it from scratch, that's an extra month or two of effort. So, and then Dog Walker I have to record too. The fiction one's going to be interesting, because I'm not sure. Usually it's more so just about making it clear and easy to listen to, but with the fiction one, like, do you act? Do you hire different voices? You know, but I think I've got a way ahead on that one. So it's coming. It's down the list. So yeah, I was remembering some of the things from my military time, which was absolutely hilarious. There was this guy, Carter. I can't remember his first name. He was a master seaman. Was I in fleet school? Oh yes, I was in fleet school, but I was on my 5s course, which is like a Killick. So I guess that's like an E3, E4. And he would tell stories about getting just fucked over, like completely fucked over by the military. And it was like weird stuff too, because for him, he didn't actually like the Navy. They have what's called ATR postings, any trade required. And that means you can go and do anything. Now, at the time, the thing to do was go to Afghanistan and get in on the war effort. There was a few communicators that went there. They got the tan beret and all that stuff, and they came back. One of the guys came back a little messed up from combat, but Carter did fine. He loved it. Anyways, his CO didn't like him, screwed him out of a second deployment, didn't get to go deploy. He had to sit in fleet school teaching the young generation. And so he was not too happy about that. And he would tell us stories all the time about how, because of some personal conflict that he wasn't even aware of half the time, he would get screwed over on major promotions and stuff. He had been in for like 30 years, which is insane to be still at a E5 or E6, an E5, E6 level. But hey, and it was funny because you listen to it and you're like, hey, it's like, sailors are hyperbolic. It's not just a story, it's the story, the greatest story that was. And you're like, okay, I get it. He's kind of. And then it was funny because as I was going through my experiences, I was like, oh, I don't think he is making that up, because now I'm that guy. What's with the lawyer glasses? This is me getting old, Chesty. This is me getting old. I actually need these now. My stigmatism makes it hard to read and write books. So, I always thought it was just I had no attention span. That's why I could only work on them like half an hour at a time. And they gave me these things. They're like, just look down. I'm like, holy shit, that's great. Yeah, not that tism. Not that tism. So it kind of made me jaded. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, man. I think, I don't know. I enjoyed my military time. And I'm sure you guys enjoy the things you've done in your 20s and early 30s and that, but it definitely did break something inside of me. Actually, it's good that Chesty's here because I was going to tell a story part of him too, but yeah, just something broke. Like, it's very hard to get joy out of the things that you'd think people should get joy out of. Like, I remember a new Smashing Pumpkins video would come out and I would be excited. I'm like, oh, it's going to be the greatest thing ever. I heard like Nirvana had a new thing. I'm like, oh, it's going to be great. I think of my sailor friend from elementary school. Every time I hear your stories, he's getting out this year. Good for him. Yeah, he is. Oh, wait. Yeah, he is. I think. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so it's broke. It's very hard to get joy out of things right now. And right now, the only thing I can find that's kind of like enjoyable, not even exciting, but just enjoyable is the work, man. You know, engaging with you guys, like teaching at Fleet School was probably the most gratifying thing I ever did in the military, even more so than hunting for drug dealers and pirates. Even more so than that weekend in Thailand. With the mostly ladies, but you know, the rule of thumb in Thailand is if she's a 10, she's a lady boy. If she's a 7, she's probably a girl. And if she's a 6, she's probably married to some Australian expat. So I was just thinking then, so like, why would somebody be in this position where I'm at? You see a lot of content creators and they constantly tell you guys how to live your life, what to do. Oh, if you just do this, your life will be great. And I know some people behind the scenes a little bit, some more than others. It's all bullshit. Like, it all is. So it's very hard. I feel annoyed that from a marketing perspective, I need you guys excited. I need you guys excited. I need people in here yelling at me, and I need the other half yelling at them because they shouldn't be yelling at me. From a marketing perspective, that's the goal. That's the greatest thing ever. If I can get 15 people to make YouTube videos on why I'm an asshole, and so far all I've got is 2, George Bruno and the guy who slept with 300 troons or whatever it was, then and that's kind of how you get your business. But at the same time, it's completely antithetical to what we're trying to do here. Like, I'm trying to get you guys to stop being so easily emotionally manipulated while providing entertainment. So it's a fine line, and so far my only solution is to at least let you know when I'm doing it, on the assumption that it's like makeup, it works even when you know it's happening. Because you guys are having it hard enough. Like, America right now, you're pulling some, at the very least, you're getting some morale wins. Like, I don't know much about, and they're going to talk about it on the Rule Zero thing, because why not? His Trump, I guess, has his 300 executive orders, which, yeah, they're not laws, they're not super changes, but they are things. They're royal decree kind of stuff, which I get. And they sound really good, but the implementation might be messy, and there's a lot of people that are going to try and do their pinko commie stuff to try and get around it. But, I mean, it's something. As opposed to ours, where we stop putting up puppets for our evil lizard globalist bankers, and we're like, let's just put the globalist bankers up there. And we're like, all right, good. Yeah, if you want us to be engaged without too much manipulation, ask questions and do live polls. Oh, yeah. I forgot about live polls. I don't know what to ask you guys. That's the problem. Because I know what I'm doing up here. I know what I'm talking about. And the red pill stuff, it's like... Actually, you know what, Matt? That's a good thing you brought that up. Because here, I'm going to... I had this for later, but I'll put it in now. So if you don't know, I have caught in the writer's bug. 6, 7, 8 books in. I think I can do this. And so Dog Walker's coming out pretty soon. I waited a little bit here, but I'm already kind of getting started on a new one. This one's like a nice cyberpunk hell book. It's going to be great. But and then I always do what I do with the Substack and the newsletter is like I'll send you excerpts of what I'm working on. I don't like the idea of you having to buy anything that I do on faith. I want you to know what you're getting in for. I want you to be interested in it. Don't want people to buy it if they don't want it. And then first thing I get was this dude, Ryan, you're an OG, a luminary in the space, or a liminary in the space. As soon as I start hearing compliments, by the way, oh, dude, don't ever compliment a guy, because this is like, what do you want? Just get to what you want. Save the compliments, because it builds that feeling of dread. Anyways, I have your excellent books. By the way, that's the other key to know when somebody's trying to fluff you. They talk about how great your stuff is, but they keep it so vague because you know they don't know. It's right up there with the guys who pronounce your name like Rion. It's like, okay, man, thanks. You know, the name is set out like first 5 seconds of all of my videos. You can figure it out. But I can tell you're bored with Red Pill, mate. I mean, I'm not bored with Red Pill. I'm bored with like retards on camera. But it's totally different. Anyway, so he does a lot of fluffing, and then he tells me, you know what you need? Take advice from a 30-year-old info products veteran. Go to where the money is for a man of your deep insight and intelligence. Live events. I was like, you son of a bitch. I've done the live events. The money's not that good. And fuck that. That's why I put ADJ on the first one. The live events. There was the live events. You know what happened in that live event? I watched a buddy of mine have his daughter and wife harassed for 3 years by a fucking cadre of psychopaths. You know what else I saw? I saw 15 hit pieces coming out trying to call everybody everything from pedos to grapists to whatever. Everybody's life was made hell, and then nobody got paid. Nobody got paid. Fuck that. Johnny Bravo, again, €4.99 super chat, random one. How would you market a premium fitness service for unfit men in the market flooded with incompetent grifters focused on shaming versus results? This is going to sound weird, but yeah. A philosopher's opinion? Fuck you. You've been listening to Clary too much, calling me a fucking philosopher. This is going to sound weird, and I want to put this in context. When it comes to marketing, I am not like an Ogilvy. What's that guy? Rory Sutherland from Ogilvy's? Like, I'm not that guy. I'm a guy who's figured out a little bit and enough to get by. I'm not the greatest, but I'm good enough. I'm better than good. I'm good enough. Don't focus on the product at all. We've reached the economic position where it's a commodity. If you guys don't, okay, yeah, I step back. Economic wise, you have, let's say a new product opens up. Soybeans get, or I'm not even going to use the example. Just new product opens up and there's one guy in the market because he started a trend. And it picks up and he finds out there was a huge demand for it, but nobody knew. And so he gets to like name his price. In any market, there's a couple things, like there's the supply and demand curve where as supply goes up, prices go down, but as demand goes up, prices go up. And the two of those work against each other. So there is a point where those lines cross. I can't remember what the name of that is. It's like, anyways, that's like the price point where supply and demand meet. And that's kind of like the best place to price it. There is a gray area outside of that. One is called consumer surplus and one is called manufacturing surplus. Production surplus, I think. Production surplus and consumer surplus. So what that means, and this is so boring, so I'm working on keeping you guys interested in this. I really am. But consumer surplus is, yeah, I'll pay $100 for this, but if it was $150, I'd still pay for it. That's surplus. How much would you actually want to buy it for versus how much it costs? That's the consumer surplus. The producer surplus is, I'm selling this because it sells at $200, but if I had to, I'd sell it for $100. And that's the producer surplus. And it's kind of what guys like Rich Cooper and MLD John talk about when they keep saying, like, what should I do about this? Like, charge more. They go under the assumption that there is a consumer surplus and you have to find where it is. And the only way to find where it is like test the market. But here's what happens. So originally you have a giant producer surplus and a small consumer surplus. Other people see that and go, dude, The premium fitness service is absolutely booming right now. I could make one. And then you get a bunch of other guys that make one. And there's a bunch of different ways to cut in on the services, but I mean, the thing's got like 100% profit margin. I could just do 90%. And the guy's like, I'll just do 80%. And then you eventually, I mean, it's like calculus where it never quite approaches zero, but the eventual, as people enter the market, the profit drops to as close to zero as it can get. Have I lost you yet? I've totally lost you. I can already see concurrent viewers just like, he's talking about economics. I just want Clary to rant on the Democrats. I don't want to hear about this. But I'm answering your question in a very long, convoluted way. So as you get to marginal rates of zero, a thing becomes, there's like a bunch of categories. There's like luxury good, consumer good, and now you're at a commodity. A commodity means it's worth nothing. There's no profit from it. There's no efficiencies to be gained. It's just like, yeah, like soybeans in the market or wheat. You buy it by the ton. So what, and this is where the fitness industry is. This is where the fitness industry is. This is where the diet industry is. I would argue technically it's where the red pilled industry is, if you can call it that. But anyway, so what do you do in a commodity market? And this is where I've actually talked about it before, the edamame beans. It's branding. Branding is the way to take commodity services and convert them into like proper luxury goods again. You pick a market, you segment your demographic, you sort out their wants, their needs, their aspirations, their insecurities, their pressure points. And then that's what you attack. So you're technically not selling fitness services anymore. You're selling a feeling. And I know this sounds like, aren't you guys don't care about feelings. Oh, they do. They absolutely do. This will get you laid. This will get you money that gets you laid. That's the kind of stuff that sells. So when you're doing this, that's why a lot of people, they tap in on the likability. Like, you're going to find me charming and charismatic. It's like being able to chance to hang out with the cool kids. This will get you laid. You get to hang around the cool guy. You get to feel better about yourself. You get to feel a sense of belonging. You get to feel like part of a tribe. That's why all the conservative grifters now are always about fucking tribes. You want to join my tribe of masculine men? We chop wood. We show off our kids on social media, just like our grandfathers did. That's how we beat the Brits in 1812. It's like, fuck. Yeah, and so you have to tap into that. And I don't find it very good. Like, a lot of, and this is why, here's another little wrench to throw in there. So Wall Street Playboys, back before he sold his account, actually had some really good insight. He goes, you're going to sell things, you sell to high status men and you sell to women. Don't sell to normal guys, because normal guys are cheap. Normal guys don't care about branding. Normal guys, autistic guys, like they don't buy into that, not as much. And you know, the numbers bear that out. You look at the Verizon and MasterCard like annual reports. Consumer spending is 80% driven by women worldwide. Something like 14. Well, this is before. It's probably doubled this now, but $14 trillion in 2008, where men were like 3 and change. Like, it's not even a question on who buys this stuff. You can see it in the political side too, where they talk about how, oh, men are turning conservative. If you look at like the trends over time, men are generally the same as they've always been, at least since like the 1940s. They're conservative, slightly right-leaning, right? And then you look at women, just skyrocketed through like liberal hysteria or progressive hysteria. I don't know, whatever you want to word it, but you know what I mean. The left-right divide stuff that we kind of intuitively know. Women have dropped off a cliff. Men have, most part, stayed the same. Hey, Gov, another wrench. So then you have that too. So like, who do you even want to sell to? If you want to sell to high status men, you're going to have to charge exorbitant prices, and you're going to have to, excuse me, appeal to what they want. But if you want to sell to market to the average guy, which technically that's what I'm doing now, I'm not appealing to like the billionaire class with my shit. It's like a numbers game, and you have to accept that it's niche, but I actually like the idea of niches. Like, you can capitalize pretty well in a niche. And I got that from my old EVE Online days. I remember, because like the market trading side of that game was what I found fascinating. I found it absolutely exhilarating. So it was like you had your own play stock market, and there was real stakes. It wasn't just like playing with Monopoly money, because, and yeah, the ISK is the currency there. It's not real, but If you lost all your ISK, you had to go mine for more. Like, it had a time commitment to it, right? That's why I answer didn't disappoint. Well, that's good. And the one thing I found there is there was like the main market hub, a place called Jita. Market margins were super slim there, right? And this is kind of the like don't appeal to mass people thing there. So you can go there. It's constantly a battle. You're making very little profit. You have to have like huge amounts of capital to get in there. But you go to a smaller market. There was like 4 different hubs. I can't remember the names of them anymore, but there was the other one that was kind of small and it had less variety. So you kind of had like a few things you kind of had to monitor, but the margins were higher because less people were doing it, which was great. Because when you had less than like a million ISK, you could trade 1 million ISK, make 1.5 million. If you took 1 million ISK to like the main hub, you'd make like 1,000,001. And then you found to a certain point it's great, but then once you got to like 10 million, you could buy out the whole market. And so it was like, well, I can't really turn 10 million into 15 million anymore because like it just sits in there. And then you kind of understand the idea of like there's hierarchies in markets. And this goes for everything. Premium fitness service advice, red pill thing, books. There is a place where you can have your phone consultations at $50 a pop, and nobody is doing those except for the very initial people starting out. And you could probably make like $500 a week, 10 calls a week. Takes a huge amount of time, right? But I mean, dude, for sitting here with a phone call and a web camera, it's a great return on investment. Then after a while, you're going to find, heck, dude, 500 a week's not cutting it. I can't live off of $2,000 a month. And so, but you have some income. So you invest, you make a YouTube channel, you start doing your branding thing, you make a funnel page and that, and then you're selling to like $300 clients. And then from there, and you see what I mean? Like you can build up to each one. No, 10 euros super chat. You are the best. No, thank you, sir. But I'm going to say all of you guys collectively are the best. You don't mind if I fluff you, do you? I don't like compliments, but I'm sure you love them. So to answer your question, it depends where you're at and what you're trying to do. I will say get your funnel in order, though. If you don't have a sales funnel, and yeah, it's like every rug pulling crypto coin has a sales funnel. Every incompetent grifter selling a masculine excellence, whatever, they're a grifter. They all have sales funnels, but you have to, like, it's the game that works. You can either choose to play it and play it properly or just don't. If you're like me and your conscience is like, I don't want to waste people's time and waste people's money, that's fine. Offer a good product, offer a good service, but you're still doing the same sales funnel as everybody else. And do you know what that means? That means shit posting on Twitter. That means going viral for saying something stupid and retarded, because people will learn who you are. And one of the easiest ways to learn who you are is to have the entire internet make you a main character for a day and just roast you. There is guys whose entire career was built off of being retarded, which is so weird. Now, again, that's like a thing too, because you have to be careful, because if you're known and remembered as the guy who's retarded, that doesn't work. What you need to have is what they call source amnesia. Make sure everybody learns who the fuck your name is, but doesn't remember why. So they need source amnesia. It's just like the military. When you're a brand new OD, you're posted to a base, the first thing you need to do is get into trouble. But one of the baby 5 charges, nothing serious. Like, don't rob a liquor store. Maybe get drunk and pass out at the gate and be thrown in the drunk tank overnight, or maybe be late for work once. Something that gets your name across your CO's desk. And then, once he learns your name, perform. Because then he won't remember, like, why do I remember this name? Oh, whatever. He's here with a commendation. Give him something. That's awesome. Same thing with marketing. So yeah, and I feel bad because now I'm like letting you guys in on, like, tell me all these people on Twitter yelling at each other is just fake. Yeah, it's fake. I'm not as angry and cynical, and I mean I am, but I'm not like invested in that kind of crap on there. That's there strictly so you guys learn what the hell my name is. My avatar is a picture from the cover of my book. The whole point of this, and then like whatever your version of that is, wherever the large public square is, you do that, you get yourself known, put yourself into a middle of the funnel. And that's where you show everybody that you're likable, you're solving problems, you know what you're doing. A lot of people hide that shit behind the paywall, but no, you need to offer that stuff for free. Absolutely. Because it's not the product. Your expertise at fitness is not what the product is. The product is you. The product is the branding. And that's the stuff you put behind the paywall. So does that answer your question? Can I get back to the topic at hand?
Name a bigger red flag than a white guy with a podcast. I'll wait.
I am not impressed. I will have you know, I'm like 80% white. The podcast is goddamn good, and I don't want you anyway. You got random Iroquois art and not art on your walls. You're not my type, sir. Or madam. I don't know, you're allowed to say any more? By the way, I got bills to pay. Oh, dude. Actually, you know what? Here, add another ad. I gotta grab something.
One of the guys who ran the Red Pill channel sent me a message. I actually appreciate that you took it from an idea-based perspective instead of ever resorting to personal attack. Like, if this movement is actually going to be dangerous, do we need to understand it so that we can take it down? I knew going into it that this might be a hot mess. I'm not going to have those guys back on my channel again. Absolutely not.
Yeah. Dude. So Ray is here. He's the guy who did the cover art for Dog Walker. And he's technically the guy who did the cover art for... my working title right now is Down on Your Luck in New Kowloon. I don't know if that's going to be it or not. But like, yeah, this guy. Now this is the author proofing copy, so it's actually fairly muted on colors. The real version is going to be like peacock bright American pop, Ralph Bakshi rotoscoped acid tripped madness. It's going to be damned awesome. Anyways, so after paying an exorbitant amount for his really wonderful art, he actually sent me as like a little bonus. He's like, here. And he actually got me customized, one-of-a-kind mugs for the book. And I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever. Specially designed, just for me. I don't know what to do with them. Like, I'm displaying them for now. But part of me is like, you know what would be cool is if I offered them to, like, big fans. Like, I don't know, some 100 subscriber kind of thing. So I got to figure that out. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. Because as much as I'm talking about marketing like I know what I'm doing, I don't. A lot of it is just A/B testing. And then when something works, just go with it, right? Anyways, here, my coffee mug is blocking the chat. Now I got to pop you guys out to get you in here. There you are. Missed you, buddies. Missed you, buddies. I bet the average IQ of these 150 people watching is above 120. Ooh, I like that one. I don't know. That's the other thing. Dude, like... So I was just sitting here talking about, like, these... I don't want to call them like, they are manipulative, but I don't want to tack on the pejorative things that you guys have in your head immediately about overt manipulation, like used car sales mix. It's not, right? But at the same time, you have to preface this with, okay, there's that manipulation. There's the astroturf, like building hype, making a problem and then solving a problem. But at the same time, you have to remember that a lot of it is kayfabe. A lot of it is pro wrestling. A lot of it is just, what does John Fitch call it? Fake, gay, and retarded. I love that line. FGR. I would have ran with it, but I'm like, I can't steal that. That's John's best work. That's better. That's up there with the robot dogs, man. The robot dogs and beating people's ass. Cover looks great. Glad you liked it, sir. Without me, it'd be 125. Look at this. Everybody here is counter signaling. No, I'm an idiot. Where am I going with this one? Oh, yeah. Like, everything is fake. And this is one of those, and this ties back to the theme of the show. Like, we're back on the topic. Holy shit, yeah. Where anybody younger than you is inexperienced and doesn't know what they're talking about. Anybody older than you is out of touch and doesn't know what they're talking about. What about the people that are in that middle? What about the people in the middle? They're all lying to you because they want something. All of them. All of us. Everybody is. I'm lying to you. The only difference is I tell you when I'm lying, and I hope you feed off of the energy of it anyway. I don't bullshit you. I think that's the difference. If I make something up, you'll know I'm making something up as a work, as a piece of art. But yeah, if I'm talking to you generically, you know I'm kind of like, okay, he's being sincere. He may be wrong, but he's not lying. And there's so many examples from the Red Pill. First off is like the whole obsession with pornography. And this is 100% from the Christian, traditional, conservative, Republican niche space. The demographic. It's actually kind of sad. Like Ian Ironwood, he wrote about this in his book Manosphere, about how the church has abandoned young men. And everybody here, I don't know, like let me know in the chat. Put F's in the chat if you're part of like what you would consider a Christian conservative group, I guess. And I'm not saying this because I want to shit on you. It's actually like you guys have it harder than most. You really do, because like everybody is weaponizing you. Even back in the 2000s when he wrote that book, it was just about man up and marry these sluts. Reformed sluts would come into the church because now they want a kid, and they were offered young men to make families with. They would divorce the men, and then the church would take the woman's side on it. It's like, and that was 2008, so that's like 15 years ago. Nowadays, they're like, they've amped it up. Oh, these OnlyFans whores, they've converted, they've repented. Go get in on it. Hey, there we go. So it's small, but it's good. So you got there. It's still the same. Yeah, exactly. Still the same, a little bit amped up. The porn one too. So you get into, and the funniest part about it is nobody's fault. There's no fault. Well, I mean, there is, but there's not really, not in the way that people think. You get a girl, you tell her whoring is the worst thing, you're going to go to hell, you're going to burn in hell forever. And you completely gaslight a girl into thinking sex is like a death sentence. Some girls snap and go to rebel against their dad, turn into super whores. The Christian girl behind the bleachers kind of thing. That's great. But most girls buy into it, believe the conditioning. And then all of a sudden they get married. They're like, all right, we need like 5 kids now. So you better start loving sex with your husband. And then you expect a girl just to flip a switch and all of that brainwashing goes away. But it doesn't. And so you end up with a lot of sexless, lackluster, sex negative marriages out there. And then the guy did everything right, trusted his congregation explicitly, gets put into a situation where he's promised a good life, and he's not in a good life. He's in a miserable life. He's in a marriage where the wife only wanted to sleep with him when she wanted to get pregnant, like only when it was during ovulation. And it's not, I'm not being hyperbolic. I've seen people firsthand talk about like, this was my marriage. This was my life. I was not happy. And because these guys are so, and because they're gaslit into being protectors, servant leaders, defenders of the faith, all that stuff, right? They don't even want to be ruthless about it. You know what? Fuck this. I'm out of here. I'm just going to go get a mistress, or I'm just going to leave the family and go do my thing. None of that. You know what they do? They're like, you know what? If I just go sort it out online, go to the hub, get it out of my system, come back, be super dad. And here's the funniest part of that is that it's not ideal. It's not, I would never recommend it, but it's sustainable to an extent. You get a guy that wants to sleep with his wife at least twice a week, and she wants to sleep with him once a month. So what's he going to do? Just not? But then the girl catches him, and then she feels bad because she knows she's being a shitty wife. The scripture has a bunch of stuff saying sleep with your husband. That's the whole point of this. Why get married if not? And she knows I'm a shitty wife because I don't do this stuff. But what does she do? She has to project that because nothing's her fault, right? And now it's an addiction. And then there's a whole industry that's propped up about porn addiction. And I will tell you right now, it's got 2 demographics. The first demographic is women who berate their men into signing up for whatever porn addiction stuff they get on. And the second one is young men who don't know any better, who think they have a problem when their real problem is they can't find a girl to begin with. So they literally prey on these type of men, which sucks because they're men that could have potential. They might not, but they could, right? Yeah, the moms are deadly. I'll agree with that. So you have this whole thing, and that's where like the NoFap thing started, which is like NoFap November, where guys just go a whole month without, they jerk off about not jerking off. Yeah, and that's where like all of these little like OnlyFans, I did not realize how expensive porn was. Like I didn't know people paid for porn until OnlyFans is like, yeah, we made $35 billion last year. We're about as profitable as the Ford Motor Company. I'm like, holy Jesus. For the fucking Vine of porn, or the TikTok of porn, you guys have made more money than like they're up there with like Monsanto and like American oil exports. You're like, Jesus Christ. And you realize like, yeah, okay, so there's markets that have built up to solve these problems. And the OnlyFans one is like I only read Playboy for the articles. Which I actually looked this up. So I'm like, I haven't seen a Playboy magazine in like 20 years. So I grabbed one from like the 1970s, and it actually is like 85% articles. It's like mostly, it's like 60% articles, 30% ads, and then seven nude photos in there. I'm like, dude, that was a It's amazing how few tits you need to sell magazines. Kind of crazy. A lot of cigarette ads, a lot of booze ads. Apparently smoking and drinking were the thing to do for like 30 years, which is awesome. But these guys, like, they built an industry around it. They made up a problem based on us not being honest with ourselves about, you know, the nature of sex, the nature of relationships, the nature of family formation, the nature of the church, that kind of stuff. And people could adapt to it. So you've got people on one side who are living like it's still 1867 when it comes to marriage. And then on the other side, you have these new people that are like, dude, this guy just wants a wife. I could sell him a single mom, ensure he stays at the church for his life, and sell them on my masculine community. How about that? Tits per page ratio is too low. Of course you'd say that, Marty. Oh, yeah. All right, before I forget, where's the stupid thing about... I actually do have a poll. Start a poll. Who did it better? I did this one on Twitter. I have no idea. Add option. I think there was 5 or 4. Yams. There it is. And I believe it was this. All right. I'm not going to say it. Just look, you can see it. You know what's hilarious on this, by the way? Every generation that sees the poll gets like, what? How did this one not win? And it makes me laugh so much. So much when you find out, when people are like, holy shit, how did this not win? How did this one not win? You're like, what the hell? I find it illuminating. It'll be fun anyway. If you're watching this on, or if you're listening to this or watching it on Spotify, by the way, I guess I should tell you what it is. So I'm running a poll now because one of the guys suggested polls, viewer engagement. It's how you keep the interest high. So the poll is, who did it better? The greatest generation had yams. Gen X had tits. Millennials had jugs. And Zoomers had milkers. Who did it best? Right now, I guess I could do those. And coming up down the line, it's Gen X with tits with 68%. Milkers and Zoomers coming up end second with 18%. And oh, crossing the whole line is Santa's little helper. Null €2 super chat. You are the best. No, sir, you're the best. Yeah, every Zoomer gets surprised. They're like, how is Milkers not dominating? And you're like, yeah, dude, it's weird. Like, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Like, we get it. It makes perfect sense when you hear the word. But the idea of the mommy waifu thing, it's strictly like a younger man thing. It is. Anybody who's older than 30, as far as I can tell, doesn't, like, you're like, what the fuck? It just comes off as weird. Older millennial, I'm fond of tits. Yeah, most are. Jugs is one of those weird ones where it came in because you didn't want to be vulgar, but you still wanted to talk about them. Melons would have actually done in Jugs' place too. And yams with the greatest jam. Oh, dude, there's something about the slang of like the old timey generations. It's catchy. It rolls off the tongue. It's got like a sing-songy vibe to it. It doesn't, like, nobody likes it anymore, but I just love the way they throw a sentence together. It's just magical, man. It really is. I actually am kind of a fan of yams myself. Anyways, so the porn addiction. Now that we're talking about it, it's not and yeah, so the addiction thing. Now, here's the funniest part, and this is like such a Noam Chomsky thing. Like, there was a Noam Chomsky, why do you hate postmodernists? And he was bringing, like, they saw the physicists, they had research papers. So, like, we can have research papers too. And they're like, yeah, they have incomprehensible jargon to explain the world. We can have incomprehensible jargon too. It's pantomiming an actual science with the social sciences, which, I mean, Chomsky, like linguistics, he would know. It's the same thing here. Like, I even, Allie's on like the whole like anti-porn thing on her Substack right now, which is, it's a pretty funny thing to watch, the people pushing back on it. But so this one guy, he's like talking about withdrawal symptoms and this, that, and the other thing. And I wonder, like, hey, how, like, if it's an addiction, what are the withdrawal symptoms? Because that's kind of thing. There's psychological addictions and there's physical addictions, right? But most people who talk about porn addictions have no idea what the hell that is. Like, what do you mean? So like, yeah, what are the withdrawal symptoms? And he starts putting out these science papers, and they're all research funded by marketing firms that are trying to get the whole, like, you know, porn addiction, no-fap courses and stuff off the ground. So obviously they're biased, and obviously they're just made up. But it was like the withdrawal symptoms were an increased ability or an increased desire to watch pornography. And I was like, what the fuck? That's not a withdrawal symptom. A withdrawal symptom is like the shakes. A withdrawal symptom is like constipation. A withdrawal symptom is like, with like heroin, is like a heart attack. There's a physical symptom to it. What you guys are talking about is a compulsion. And it's not even so much a compulsion. It's just like you have a biological desire. It's like, oh my God, he barely eats. Why is he so hungry? Well, let's have a no hunger course. Let's teach him that food is from the devil. It's like, come on. What about generational names for jerking it? That's a good one. I'd have to think. What would they even be? I guess the greatest gen would be like spanking the monkey or something. Gen X, I don't even know what they would say. Millennials, I think it would be something like a warm apple pie or relieving yourself. What do Zoomers even call it? Oh, fapping. Fapping would be the Zoomer one, I think. Chafing the carrot, choking the bishop. Yeah. Slapping the salon. Look at this. I think they're right. I think you guys are 120 IQ crowd. Oh, it's gooning for Zoomers. Okay, so Zoomers would be gooning. Millennials would be fapping. Gen X would be all the salami slapping. I'd have to look up what the greatest generation referred to. I don't know. The only thing I can think of is taking the Cosbys to the pool, but that's a completely different metaphor. So, anyways, moving off of that, we're gonna move to a. Let's do this one.
Not Ryan Stone. I think he's the most important guy in the world. Ryan Stone. Give a fuck about Ryan Stone. Me and him have gone back and forth. Blah blah. Yeah. Blah. Ryan Stone does not pass the 6-foot test. He's not even a man. So I don't give a fuck with Ryan Stone.
It was such a quaint time back then when wrestling promos was it. Now there's like human trafficking and stuff. Like whatever. Yeah, so other than that, there's other examples too. The money side of things. God knows every crypto rug pull is essentially a manipulating of guys, and older people don't. And I'm not gonna lie, I got burned on Celsius, so I was like, I'm very, very. I think I've got at most like 20 grand in Ethereum and Bitcoin, and I'm mostly just hodl, just sitting there. Leave it there. If it like triples in price or whatever, I'll cash out. It's fine, and that's it. I don't care beyond that. I'm not sitting here to play the market. And you can, but that's really, it's not even a market. And I'm not going to have all the arguments, well, technically gold's no interest. Yeah. You're gambling. Don't fuck with me. You're gambling. But it offers that plausible deniability. Same as like the no-fap versus porn versus the girls not sleeping with their husbands because of the church gaslighting, all that stuff, right? Same thing here. Gambling has always been like an amazing vice for men. It used to be, like for a while there, it was going away. Gambling was like songs in the 70s and 80s were all about if your husband was leaving you, it was probably because of a gambling problem. My parents split up over a gambling problem. And then for like a 20-year period, like the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, nobody gambled. And then all of a sudden, sports gambling came out with just like a flick of the pen. And gambling is now like a serious thing. And crypto markets, like the meme coin crypto markets, they're all just gambling, but they offer you like, oh, it's not gambling. You're watching sports. You're not betting on the track. You're at home. You're playing a game. It's like a video game. Oh, then it's not gambling at all. I'm just spending money on estimating how my fantasy football team will do. Right. Oh, it's not gambling. I'm just betting that this coin here is going to go up to this point and then everybody's going to sell off. So I'm going to sell it off the day before and or 15 minutes before and make all the money. But it's not gambling. No. It's cryptography. It's like, all right, whatever. And then all the things. And I get it. Bitcoin is largely a hedge against the American economy. When people are worried about the apocalypse, Bitcoin does better. When people are happy with a healthy economy, Bitcoin does worse. In fact, some of the biggest markets of Bitcoin are people that got debanked over the last 10 years over stupid woke nonsense. So they literally cannot function in a fiat banking system because the banks are like, no, we're not going to give you credit. We're not going to give you an account. Here's your money. Get the fuck out. So they have nowhere else to go. And that's been a primary driver of it. China was a huge driver too until they shut that shit down. But that's what you get now. So in the same way that the church stuff was the old guy who lived in a paradigm that's got like 1896 and he's trying to advise you based on those old rules, you got the new crypto guys doing the exact same thing but in reverse. They have no idea of what like an SNL scandal was, the savings and loans scandal of the 80s. Nobody remembers that. I don't remember that. I had to look it up, but I remember the name. And that was essentially, yeah, the same. It's like a rug pull, no different. The 2008 housing crisis, another rug pull. These are all Hak Tua coins. Or Hak Tua coins. Stocks and bonds are gambling too, especially since the 2008. Yeah, well, I mean, stocks in general are divorced from fundamentals, but we're talking a level of like a scale here that's just, I don't find them comparable. Yes, stocks and bonds, which is funny because Carl and I did an episode of Red Morning years back where he was talking about how he did like the prices and earnings and all this stuff, and I'm like, I just went off of vibes, and my portfolio like doubled. Which, granted, in an inflationary market, everybody's stock goes up. But my thing was, how do people react to hearing the news? Like, if you're a regular investor, you hear a company is doing really well. Oh, I'll invest in them. They'll make more money, and then I'll get a return on investment. And you expect the stock price to go up. I'm like, nope. I think what's going to happen is people are seeing a company's doing well. They look at what they got in there, and they're pulling it out. Like, all right, let's get out of here. Let's cash out. I'm done. And I think price would go down. And then sure enough, every time I checked, prices on these things would go down whenever they had great news. It was totally counterintuitive. But then you just think about it as people as opposed to that. Now, I'm not saying I'm Nostradamus. It's not 100%. I'd say maybe 80% successful. But at the same time, there might be better strategies out there. There might be people earning way more than me. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Right now I'm in cash because I'm just waiting because I know I'm waiting for something to bottom out, and I have to be patient. That's the other thing. You've got to be patient. Crypto doesn't work as an investment vehicle for me because it's like it rewards non-patience and risk-taking behavior. I prefer patience. Let the risky guys jiggle the market, get in when that market's been jiggled, and then as it returns to normalcy. I think that's like a good place to be. But again, I'm just some fucking guy fooling around with investment money, fun money. I fully expect that like my actual work will be a primary source of my retirement fund. Yeah, exactly. Trump has everybody optimistic. So everything that happened here, the market will probably go up. At least, well, it'll go down at first for people cashing out now that expecting, because they're worried about uncertainty. But then as Trump fills people more with hype, things will go up. Maybe. But again, Canada's market is kind of like that secondary market, while the American market is like JITA 4-4, I think they called it. The Canadian market, oh, dude. Like, I'm watching stocks in, like, our Fortune 100 companies moving 10% in a month. 10%. Like, holy shit. In America, dude, you can't do that. You imagine if, like, Chipotle is, like, $1,000 a share or something like that. Meanwhile, like, the bank, the Royal Bank, Canada's biggest bank, is something like $60 a share. So it's like, yeah, I'm in the secondary market, which is great. Anyway, so you got all these rug pulls and stuff. So yeah, you don't know if that's true too, because everybody's just guessing. The AI, same thing. Everybody's, oh, AI is taking over everything. And well, China just came out with a 5. This is like the funniest story. I have no idea. It's two propagandists fighting over who gets the narrative. I don't know which one is true, but the narrative as it stands is pretty funny to me. OpenAI has gotten like $5 billion in capital injection investments because they're going to make the newest thing that, you know, it'll take all the jobs except for the ones for H-1B visas. Oh, that's great. China apparently made their own version, which is superior to it. Cost them $5 million. Did it? I don't know. It might have cost them $1 billion, but they're just keeping their mouths shut about it. They might have just used slave labor. Who knows? Maybe it is just a case that the American OpenAI Foundation is just a giant grift. Same way as like COVID, or same way as like any of the other billion-dollar grifts that have come by in the last couple years. And maybe then China's like, dude, you can do this on the cheap. What the hell are you doing? One of those guys are right, or maybe they're both wrong and they're both bullshitting you. All I know is when I go to ChatGPT, I send it a page of my book. I'm like, could you do some line editing? It sends me a terms of service violation. It boots me from the server. So ain't doing me no good one way or the other. I could stop anytime I want to. I just don't want to. Exactly. Now I'm using like examples like this, but there is hundreds of little examples I find in like life. You watch it just like a dinner party with like a Sanka set or a happy hour with coworkers. I occasionally join in on the old lady when hers are doing that, and here and there a little banter. It's same stuff. The old people don't know what they're doing. They're living in a bygone era. The young people don't know what they're doing. They have no historical reference to what they're talking about, and they're just guessing. Nobody knows what they're doing. And they're sitting there arguing relentlessly over about who's ignorant. You're an ignorant idiot. You're an ignorant old man. You're both right. And that's the worst part, because we could figure it out. We're not stupid. The wisdom of crowds is a real thing. And that's the one, if you take away nothing from this podcast, take that. The wisdom of crowds is your friend. But you have to keep the insincere out. The gatekeeping thing is absolutely important. That's why I still to this day say there is nothing new in the red pill worth dealing with since about 2015. Because it's at 2015, 2016, that's when the marketing side of things took. That's when, and there's actually a really good article on this one somebody sent to me. It was about something else, but it's about scenes and mini cultures. Mops and sociopaths or something like that. If I could find the link to it, I'll try to send it to you. Fucking Rob. Oh yeah, it's on my history somewhere. I'd have to go search for it. I'm not going to do that right now. Anyways. Bob, I see your thing. I'll get to it in a sec. But the idea was, at first there's guys who are like really into a thing, and they collab with each other. They work on the thing. They're the ones that do most of the work. I would say I was one of those guys. I was cool before Arcade Fire got big. You know, one of those. Rolo, the Rule Zero guys, all that. And then mops eventually join in. They're the ones that aren't super interested in it, but they'll just soak up as much as they can. And they're kind of useful because they're the one that like makes the thing big and popular. But then once it gets popular, the sociopaths kind of come in, and they're the ones that monetize the mops. The mops aren't super invested in the scene anyway, so they make it more palatable, more like general person friendly, completely ruining what it's originally for. They're wearing it like a skin suit, but the mops don't care. And so that's kind of what the red pill went through right now. That's the Tates and the Myrons, you know what I mean? And that's where it's at. But the system still works. Like, just the idea of getting 100 guys in a room, batting their heads against the wall about a specific problem, swapping notes on it, keeping out mops and grifters. You'd be amazed what you can do on anything. So FYI, Bob, and because you did it, sir, this is the longest a Red Morning episode has made it without a $5 super chat. 1 hour, 7 minutes, 50 seconds. I want you to stamp it, timestamp it. You know what that means, right? Yeah.
So the meme, they're very good. This is really, they've taken it.
True Alpha
named Ryan Stone.
It says, ask Murphy about the article he wrote, cuckolding his wife. Clear up the cuck article. Clear up the cuck article.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
If I wasn't prepared to literally impoverish his entire bloodline,
I am now concerned for my career.
And I still recommend clear up the cuck article.
You know what? Fuck you for bringing this up. Yeah. Fuck you. Heartfelt.
I'm not going to have those guys back on my channel again. Absolutely not.
Just use a little bit of fucking common sense.
It is just,
That's great. You should.
Fuck you.
Sorry, apologies.
Just keep going, dude. One foot in front of the other. Before you know it, this will all be in the rearview mirror. Fuck you.
And then Governor, why are you doing this to me? I hate it, man. Out of all the stuff I've ever done, slowing down Jack Murphy's "Why are you doing this to me" has become like, that's it. If like I'm dust and gone in 1,000 years, like, hey, isn't that the guy with the "what are you doing to me" thing? Son of a bitch. Anyways, FYI, Bob, with your $5 super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Governor. This is your 10th super chat, by the way, on a live stream. YouTube wanted me to let you know that we need to celebrate, and I'll do it with that Jack Murphy ad. So FYI, Bob, I want to address that P-nagraphy is a thing of the past. The new thing is the P-star or amateur going on OnlyFans making tons of dollars by smashing 100 dudes. I don't think that's the case you're making, sir. You think pornography is a thing of the past because a girl is going on to a different website making a ton of dollars by doing extravagant pornography. I'm just saying. FYI Bob then follows it up, $10 super chat. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. The same tradcons who say it's bad for boys and men are the same people who praised Nala, the fake Christian, and feel sorry for the 100 dude girl. Well, yeah, it's... And this is why, like, dude, I gotta make a run at, like, Red Scare. Like, I gotta beat those bitches. There's no way I can't. I could do it. I just gotta work hard. Work hard and try better. But maybe I'll just do some vocal fry in the camera. But they brought up a good point. It's that they're two marketing funnels pointed in the same direction. And I kind of realized that with the chick with the 100 dicks or whatever. Because she filmed her porn, the 100 dicks, in an hour or however, 24 hours. And then she filmed that little documentary where she's like, it feels weird, and she starts crying and stuff like that. And then the conservative Christian grifting types, they just latched onto that. That picture of her crying became like a meme for 3 days. Matt Walsh wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. He hasn't talked that much about porn in forever. And I realized then, oh, I get it. So you're selling the sex and the indignation, the sin and the absolution at the same time. It's like, dude, that's vertical integration. In any market, when you're able to function in every single level of the economic blah, blah, blahs, you end up what's called vertical integration. The supplier has become the manufacturer, has become the marketer, has become the end product. Absolutely brilliant marketing. So yeah, these types, they see the Nala chick pretending to be Christian to get things because they like the idea of, oh yeah, she sucked all these dicks, but now she feels really bad about it. And now she's pandering to everything I think is great. And what more do you want? I want somebody to tell me how I'm feeling is good. Tell me what I'm doing is the right thing. Say they made a mistake. I made a mistake by not doing what you're doing. I wish I'd have done what you're doing. I'm going to start doing what you're doing. By the way, here's my low cut cleavage merch. You're like, oh, okay. I get it now. Same as the other one. Yeah. She sucked 100 dicks. That sucks. But then you look and she's like, oh, but she's crying. She feels bad. She's destroyed. So the guy can look over to his wife and see? This is why you shouldn't have been a whore in college, Cynthia. She rolls her eyes, goes back to watching the Blake Lively ruining Buddy's career on TikTok. Fuck, whatever. So yeah, and this is what I mean. It's all fake, gay, and retarded, man. They're trying to sell you on the sin and the absolution. It's Catholic confessional and fooling around in the bleachers beforehand. The indignation. And that was the part that got me, because I was like, which part of this is the porn? Because like nobody, Luffy, this guy Lufty is the only guy who was showing it off. Like every time somebody was talking about, think of all those men harassed, and they always played it up like they're destroying that poor young innocent girl that made them all sign waivers and come to her studio. It's like he would just put like a clip of it up there and he's like, hey, you mean this girl here, the one that's downtrodden? And she's smiling and laughing and she literally in camera goes like, this is the greatest day of my life. So that was pretty funny. You don't want to watch those tweets in the grocery store. I'll tell you that right now. But you got to remember, same thing. You're being manipulated. You're being manipulated for your attention, for your dollars. Either they are selling you a product or they are using you to inflate their brand in order to sell product to somebody else. Don't forget that. So you can choose to engage on it if you want, but do it with your eyes open. Andrew Tate's Romanian passport, I feel good, then guilty. So it is an addiction. It's a compulsion. Compulsion and addiction are not the same thing. You can get addicted to cigarettes. You get jitters when you don't get the cigarettes. You can't get addicted to porn. When you don't see porn anymore, you just want to see porn when you're bored. It's like opening the fridge, looking in there, realizing you're not hungry and closing the fridge. That's porn. It's a compulsion. There's no physiological addiction. There's no chemical change that happens. But yeah, there's the dopamine from the... By that argument, if you have a healthy sex life and a great marriage, you probably have the same thing. Oh my God, he's addicted to sex with his wife. You notice how that's not bad? Sex addiction's bad, unless you do it the right way. What's the right way? Female approved. The way she likes it. If your wife wants sex all the time and you have sex all the time, it's not a porn addiction. But if your wife doesn't want sex all the time and you want to jerk off to porn all day, now it's an addiction. See the difference? It's a moral panic. It's a moral panic stealing the language of addiction. Is it any wonder that the most wokest, DEI, villainous feminists out there are all like, disenfranchised children of evangelical Christian communities. Does it ever make you wonder about that? They took the religious guilt and shame and fear and bullying and gaslighting technique that they've been using for thousands of years, which, you know, arguably for good benefit. Clearly it's gotten us through the Middle Ages, got us through the Renaissance, got us to this point. So it's not like it's useless. It's not like it's wrong. It's just that, yeah, it had its purpose, but now they're applying it to some brand new commie Bible. It's like, whatever. Free Gender with $2 super chats. What is it? Fat Tuesday? Ash Wednesday? Oh, that's funny. You know, it was only 2 years ago that I first met my first, like, person that put the ashen cross on their thing. Saw one at work. She was the receptionist. And I'm like, what the hell? And then, like, I knew it was Ash Wednesday, but I didn't know it actually had, like, the things to it. And I'm like, oh, you Catholic? And she goes, yeah. Is that what happened? It was just funny because it's like the same way that I talk about Judaism. Like, I didn't know much. In BC, there's a lot of Christians, like Protestants, but not really many Catholics. Definitely no Judaism. And so when I get here to the East Coast, they're everywhere. And I'm like, holy shit. And I'm like very naive asking questions. What's with the hat? What's with the ash? Do you guys really just eat fish on Fridays? That's crazy. And then people kind of like it because I come at it with like this childlike naivety. And I'm like, dude, I've only ever seen this in like vampire movies. You got to walk me through. And they're like, yeah, okay, here. So it's kind of fun. Anyway, see, now Dark Knight Dev with the proper super chat here. You guys could learn a thing or two from this guy. $5, 1 cent super chat. The prodigal son isn't about the son returning, more so about the son's returning, reaffirming the father's belief in his faith. Slave morality at its finest. Yeah. Yeah. You get it. And you got to remember too, like and again, I'm not here to shit on Christianity. My grandfather was a preacher. I'm coming from a position of like at least some knowledge. At the time, the Romans were they had their own little master morality, right? Well, enslaving a population is a good thing because we're doing it. Anything we do is good. Anything you guys have to do because of that is bad. And so, yeah, Christianity was largely built about moralizing, turning your necessity into virtue. We can argue about the benefits we've had. We can argue about the drawbacks. We can argue about relevancy in 2024. All we want. I'm not going to. But yeah, that is what it is. That's not really up for contention. Anyways, Pink for Skinhead. Yeah, man, when I'm playing PUBG, it's like, holy shit, I'm going to die in 2 seconds when the apocalypse happens. What an odd statement to make out of context, but whatever. Kind of taps into that Red Pill essay. It's the one I'm actually releasing this for a little magazine we have here in Canada. It'll be kind of neat. I guess I should do. All right, I got to do some more marketing stuff. Hold up a sec. Pull these guys up. Where'd they go? Where'd it go? Dude, I was not prepared to market. Oh yeah, why do they put Zen in 6 milligrams, by the way? Jesus Christ, what's wrong with you people? Do you have a death wish? You didn't even warn me. Just so you know, you're gonna get sick. Like, really? Why do people do this? Because it's awesome. All right. Oh, that's right, it's on Substack. So I got 2 things coming up, which I think is gonna be pretty exciting. The first one is, I think they're coming out first. Oh, direct messages. There are correspondence theory. If you guys haven't heard of these guys, they're a small like Canadian thing. What they're doing is they just want to. It's kind of similar to Slate Star Codex. It's insightful things from a wide variety of perspectives, and they're putting them in together. So I'm giving them an article, "The Why You're Lost," which is kind of what we're talking about here. If you've read Frame, you'll have seen it in there. So that should be pretty exciting. At the same time, I'm hoping they accept it, but Double Dealer Magazine. They've been around for about 2 years. They're like an Americana Southern short story rag. I'm sending them the first bits, like a short story on the cyberpunk adventure Down on Your Luck in New Kowloon. We'll see if they accept it too. So that's gonna be pretty awesome. A whole bunch of like random places out there. We're gonna be part of like the cultural zeitgeist. One good thing about Trump, it's like, hey, woke is out. You know what's in right now? Creativity for men. And I'm like, I hope so. I'm banking on it. So yeah, that'll be pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Subscribe to the Substack, because any updates on this stuff, for the most part, I send them in through emails. Email you guys. You'll get excerpts from the new books. You can see it and get some interest in it if you're into it. I also send case studies out so the same stuff you see in Praxeology, Volume 3, it's technically the research material that I used for Volume 1 and Volume 2. But now I'm like, well, let's just give you the stories direct. And it's just stories of guys running their field reports, but not just a singular field report. Most of the stuff in Frame and Dread was about, here's the best example of a field report to explain this concept that you're going through right now that other people have done, this mental model. This is more longitudinal. Hey, this was this guy's first field report. 6 months later, he gets here. A year later, he gets here. And he gives you some insights like, oh, that's what he means by the 2-year dancing monkey improvement program. That's what he means about 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's what he means about guys who take their foot off the gas, and then they decide that they think it's all tips and tricks, and then they realize, like, why won't you do anything anymore? Why is it not working? So it's pretty fun. It's pretty enjoyable, and it's insightful. I think you guys will like it. So I put those out on Tuesdays. Come on into those. And that's it for that. Anyway, so another ad. We'll get back to the regularly scheduled programming. Oh, you know what? I can't. It's not a Rule Zero if I don't have this one.
Hey, brother, who do you think is the funniest member of Rule Zero Squad now? What's your favorite comment joke of theirs? I think Ryan brings good laughs. He does. Ryan is like British humor. It's like Monty Python. People are like, if you get it, you laugh your ass off. If you don't get it, you're like...
Fuck Ryan Stone.
People just don't get his humor. Who's the funniest one on there? You mean besides John Fitch? I think John Fitch is the funniest member of Rule Zero, but he's unintentionally funny. One of the robot dogs.
Seeing this robot dog in real life was pretty surreal and terrifying.
Yeah, Cappy's pretty funny. He can be pretty funny too. Who's the funniest member?
Pretty funny, I guess. Yeah, it gets me too. I know everybody else likes the Jack Murphy one, but the funniest member of Rule Zero is the one that always makes me laugh. I don't know, it's like British humor. It's such a great nig. Dude, that's like British funny. So I see off-brands can go up to like 8 milligrams. Dude, who are these people? Anyways, so last thing here I'll mention before we move on is I have to put a link up to it. Because, dude, Dog Walker, it's such... I know I'm biased, but it really is the best thing I've ever done. You guys have you will. If you followed the Substack, you'll have already seen it. I'm going to pin this into the live chat. Pre-orders are out now. So if you're a Kindle guy, the pre-orders for the Kindle one are out now. I have a goal, and I think we can do it. The goal is to be the best pre-orders out of all of my books. And that's actually a tall order, because I've looking through my pre-orders. Did you know Fuck Files had like, where is the number? 128 pre-orders. That's insane. That's awesome. And so I want to get Dog Walker up there. It's at 30 now. We're a month out. So my goal is to and it'll be my way to know, have I at least gotten to be better at marketing? Because I know I can deliver. It's more about, can I convince? Free Gender, $5 super chat with a heartfelt F you into the chat. If Rolo doesn't work with idiots, and he doesn't work with people who work with idiots, why does he keep working with Fresh and Fit? You'd have to ask him. So here's the thing. Like, I know, like, don't you guys talk? It's like, yeah, I got his phone number. I could call him. I could ask him. But the reason we're friends is because I don't. You got to remember, he's a grown fucking man. I'm a grown fucking man. Can't just be sitting here like, hey, why are you with this? Why are you with that? Start shaming and why are you with these guys? Like, he knows my thoughts on him. It's not like I hide them. And I know what he does, and that's fine too. And we can move forward past that. He's allowed to run his business to the way he sees fit, because he's the one who's ultimately responsible for his success and his failure. Now we could argue, would I have done it differently? Would you have done it differently? Do you think it's good? Did the results work for themselves? It's not my place to say. I think a good part about friends is understanding where to push the envelope and where not to. Because as a guy, it's very off-putting if somebody gets a little too nosy into your life. And I'm like, you know what? I like the idea of us getting along and doing our thing, and I like the work he's doing more so than any individual concern over How are you friends with that guy? Or what's the problem with this guy? Or why are you having him on your show? It just seems fucking weird. Is PS, I love Rollo. I've read 3 of his books. Yeah, I didn't assume that was a place of malice. But it's, and again, to poorly quote scripture, I am not my brother's keeper, and he's not his brother's keeper. In the same way he doesn't tell me how to run my business, I don't tell him how to run his. I appreciate him for what he is and what he does, and he appreciates me for the same, and that's good enough. You know? Technically, it's my rule to not work with retards or people that work with retards. Rich taught that to me. Oh, Rich does. Yeah. Whether you think he adheres to it or not, it's not really my point either. I don't really care. Rich is doing just fine the way he's doing things. I don't think it's my place, but you could do it better. Fuck you. FYI, Bob. Hey, Ryan, didn't you celebrate the political exit of Trudeau and admire the subtle eating PM Pierre Poilievre? Yes and no. I don't know if you're going where I think you're going with this, but yeah, I was happy about it. And it's not the political exit of Trudeau. If you're talking about Twitter, disregard Twitter. Twitter is mostly rabble-rousing to get attention, so don't worry about that. If you really want an answer on this one, I do enjoy seeing him go. He's not gone yet, by the way. He hasn't done anything. In fact, he's done less than nothing. Nothing has changed. The only difference is he's promised to leave at a later date. And then he prorogued Parliament to delay an election because he knew he was going to get one, hoping that he could make the polls look better. He's the least popular person in Canadian history, which is crazy. And so now trying to take his spot here's the weird thing too. So this one guy, his name is Mark Carney. He's literally like when you talk about the them, like they're coming for your guns and this, he's literally a they. He was the head of the Bank of England, head of the Bank of Canada. His name's on the fucking money, man. He signed the money. When it's underneath, it's like the Queen of England there, and then Mark Carney. You're like, holy shit. He actually doesn't have a vote. He doesn't have a seat in the Parliament. He could technically win the seat for the leader of the Liberal Party and then become Prime Minister, but because he's not a sitting MP, is not allowed in the House of Commons. Fucking wild. So while I kind of don't want Trudeau to leave, I want him to get voted out. But at the same time, I'm kind of checking out. Like obviously I'm seeing about expatriation, green card, that whole business. But at the same time, I got friends, I got family here, and I've devoted a lot of my life to the service of the country, so I do want to see it succeed. So there's that part that's kind of weird. And then the conservative guy with the apple, I don't know what's happened, whoever's been in his ear, or maybe he was always like this, but you can kind of see he's waffling. Like, I truly don't think he understands. I think he's trying very hard to not look like Trump, but the problem is the parts of Trump that he's trying not to look like are the parts that people liked about Trump. Because he's assuming that the good parts and the bad parts are the same. It's like, no. And so, yeah, he's doing a lot of pandering to on the immigration thing, which you're like, that's kind of the only reason that people really want you there. Clean this up, sir. So, I don't know. Admire then would not be the right choice of words. I guess the least worst option. Plus, I have fun. But you gotta have fun with it, right? You gotta have fun with this stuff. So you enjoy yourselves. But hey. He's not. Of course he's not. No. There is no politician in Canada who's on board with the 51st state nonsense. That's right now. From self-interest, if no other reason. You want to go... Name one person who wants to go from a big fish in a small pond to a small fish in a big pond. Nobody does. If that is going to happen, that is not going to be a politically driven thing. That's going to be a people-driven one. Although Alberta is kind of like a big thing. Which part of me is rooting, man. If Alberta does annex and go into the States, I'm pretty sure, because I have a birth certificate from Alberta, I'm pretty sure I get citizenship on that, which saves me a lot of money on immigration stuff. So that'd be pretty exciting. Well, you're like, Pierre looks like a soap opera actor playing a politician. He's Doogie Howser. I think people forget that. In Canada and Canadian politics, he's Doogie Howser. He joined the Conservative Party of Canada at like 17. and Harper kind of like groomed him from leadership for most of his thing there. So he was like the youngest guy ever who's been in, like he's only 41 or something like that. And he's been in politics for 23 years, 25 years or something like that already. Like he's already got a pension. So that's something to keep in mind. He is, I would argue, if you had to put him in like a very broad category, he is the old person giving advice, like from a world that no longer exists, like the boomer. He is the Canadian old guard, last one of it. How this plays out, who knows? Anyways, we totally brought this show to like a grinding halt with this political talk. I want to thank you so much for that $5 super chat, because it cost me on the goddamn concurrent viewers. Don't worry about it. We still got half an hour, so this is most of the points I wanted to get. I don't think I have anything else. I'm going to switch over to Bantz now. Yeah. B-A-N-T said. So let's do a quick ad and we'll lighten things up. Oh, dude. Why not make fun of this bitch?
We know that these videos really prey on vulnerable young men who have not had many experiences in dating.
I've actually become a feminist again. Feminists, though, can be some of the worst people you'll ever meet. They can be like some of the most nasty. They'll take advantage of contradictory world values, right? Worldview, which is that like I'm talking about like psychology and mental health for men, and yet I'm in a field that like is overly feminized and shoving drugs down men's throat. And I'm like, I'm still recommending it because I don't want to lose like the baby out with the bathwater. Just because not all therapists are well trained to work with men. Just because a lot of therapists might even be biased against particularly like incel type men. If they hear misogynistic language at all, they might like shut you down. So and it was just difficult because I didn't want to be like super like nasty and mean or anything.
Dude. All right, so nobody cares about internet drama. I still find it funny and cathartic. There is like a running gag that every anti-red pill guy who like shits on me or shits on Rollo always ends up like diddling kids, going to jail, stuff like that, right? And we're batting 100. We're batting 100. Oh, by the way, if you guys want to know about the poll, you know what? Before I get there, let's finish off the poll. Who won? How did it look? In first place, it's Gen X with tits. Following in a close second, third place finish, Milkers with 23% with Jugs. Picking up the slack at 19%. At the end of the race is Yams by the Greatest Generation, pulling in at a last minute 7 to 8%. As it stands right now, Tits wins. Take your tickets to the door. Payouts will be included in cash. Incel, the biggest bud word meaning nothing. Yeah, exactly. It means nothing. Where did Santa... Yeah, Santa's little helper is still completing the race. Will be done at the end. At the end of the Christmas special, he will be adopted by the Simpsons family. I can't send money because it's a fake name. Don't sweat it, Salt Daddy. As far as I can tell, I know you contribute in your own way, and I'm happy with that. Oh yeah, the bantz thing. So, like, Destiny. He's the newest example. Pat Stedman, shitting on Red Pill for like 3 years, calling us low IQ morons, making fun of us, shitting on Rollo's family, goes to jail. Got pardoned, but he still went to jail. And now he's in there. Like, nobody's gonna hire him. So he's now, I have to be the guy that rants about the government and smokes cigarettes. God damn it. Andrew Tate, human trafficking. Oh, but he just got his charges released. That's what he said. But Dicot said they just pushed the charges back to the prosecutor. It's like, hey, double check this. We want it to go through. We'll pick this up in a couple months. And let's see some $2 million of his stuff to pay for it. It's like, fair enough. He's going to jail. He's been to jail. Ivan Throne, gone. Anthony Johnson, bankrupt. John Anthony, bankrupt, angry. Failed lawsuit. Troon, fucker. And the newest one, Destiny. Look at that guy. You know what he did? He slept with like every girl that was ever a collab with him. He slept with them. Which, kudos to him to be such a diminutive, weird, goofy looking little man with a drug problem and a deviated septum. Managed to sleep with a lot of 28-year-old streamers. Can't fault a guy for trying, but went that extra route where he would like film them fooling around, send the film reel to his buddies. Hey, look at my 18 sex tapes. And all the girls are like, all right, I'm suing you for this shit. Why? Not because they're offended by the sex tape stuff, but because the Democratic National Convention stopped paying for them to shit on the red pill. So they're like, no, let's sue Destiny for his coin of the cash. That erudite chick that I just did the fucking ad on, she was the Ghislaine Maxwell of Destiny's Epstein Island. You hate to see it. But god damn if it doesn't. It fills my heart with joy to know that men will win in the end. Yeah, boy was getting it, couldn't keep his mouth shut. It's just so funny. I enjoy seeing everybody who comes after like Rolo or me or all of this stuff. I love seeing them get their comeuppance. I love watching them fail and flounder and find out they're just like drug-addled weirdos, theater kids, human traffickers, where the judge isn't even mad at you for breaking federal law. He's more confused. You have a new family and a great career. Why did you do this, you dumbass? For clout? Are you crazy? You don't even smoke. What's with the cigarette? Look at Erudite without makeup. She's hitting a wall fast. I know it seems like I focus more than I do because I can talk about it, but I'll be honest with you guys. I don't watch any of this stuff. Like my ads, it's the same ad. Same ad for like a year. He's talking about them constantly. No, I just push the button. That's it. And then like in the RAR squad, if somebody finds some like really interesting stuff, they post it in there, and that's how I get caught up. People send me the things that are important. I'm like, oh, good. And so it's like I get the TSN highlights so I could talk about sports at the water cooler the next day. It's a little hack. If you guys don't like sports ball, if you don't like football, if you don't like baseball, if you don't like hockey, and you have to go into work with a bunch of hockey fans, watch the highlights. Last week on Sportsnet, you watch the highlights, and then you come to work. It's like, dude, can you believe that fucking thing? And you're like, and the guy's like, I know. And then he will talk at length. I keep telling you, fucking Carter's is making it. You're like, I know. And then bam, you're in. It's all you got to do. And it's good too, because the guy gets to talk about something he's passionate and interested in. You get to talk about something and be interested with somebody else, and you feed off his energy, and then you guys don't be miserable at work that day. How do you not? Any advice? 40 years old. Is it too late for family? No. Nothing. It's, I mean, as a guy, you're not too late for much of anything. We don't have the kind of ticking clock that girls do, but I mean, there is steps, there's stages to this. There's, you know, are you financially able to support yourself? Are you able to get laid? Are you fiscally responsible? Do you have a surplus? Do you have the capability and the logistics for this? Will you get a girl to marry you? Can you start it? Like, there's like a whole process. And when people say, is it too late to start a family at 40? It's like, where on that spectrum are you, sir? And then I realized, oh my God, there is a huge amount of time and effort going to be required to just going through that with somebody. And it's like, yeah, $5 super chat's not enough for that. So yeah, never too late for milkers. See, exactly. Girl is the issue. This is like the Carl Sagan quote, man. The trick to make, or how do you make a pie? Well, the trick is first you got to create the universe. Like, that's where we're at now. And I'm just like, I don't have the patience for it. That is, to be fair, if I do go with that level of online money, if I go with that level of like insight, that's a $3,000 course, man. I can't do it. I can't. It's just too much. Oh, fuck. I don't mean that in a negative way. I just like Rez Mungiao BR. Did I get it even close? I think that's Portuguese, like Brazilian. Anyways, it's 2 R's. How to deal with an asshole at work. Any advice? Well, that really depends on where you work. For example, if you work in the military, in the Navy, we used to have a thing called Tiller's Flats. In the old steamers, yeah, we had steam ships. They were steam turbines. There was this place that was kind of out of the way. You would go to Tiller's Flats and you would basically get into a fight. And then whatever happened, you sorted it out and then you went back, you didn't talk about it. That does not work in a corporate environment. That does not work at a law firm. And then there's the question of what is the asshole at work for? Because you get assholes at work. There's some guy who just he doesn't like that the girl he likes at work has a crush on you. And so he constantly snipes at you. So in that case, you would just, poke a little fun at him, draw attention to his stupidity. He'll get embarrassed, and then he'll try to make your life a living hell whenever he has the chance, and there's that. But then there's also the chance that my boss is an asshole. Why is he an asshole? He keeps telling me to come in and work on time. You got to remember, some guys who ask this question, I don't think it's you, but some guys do. It's like, my boss keeps telling me what to do. I'm like, that's his fucking job, man. That's what he's supposed to do. Fucking nut up. If you're doing what he needs you to do, he wouldn't have to boss you around. That's what they all want. Every boss wants an employee that's like, fire and forget. So yeah, it depends on so many things. Are you competent and good at what you do? Do you have options? Because a lot of the times dealing with the asshole at work is just like, take a better offer somewhere else. If your boss is the asshole and you're in like an in-demand profession, just go work somewhere else. Why did you want to leave your company? It's mostly a personnel thing. I don't like my old boss has it out for me. I wouldn't say that, but you know what I mean? It's what you're doing. Yeah, fuck it. So to answer your question, how to deal with an asshole at work, it depends. It's not the answer you want, but it's the right answer. But I will say this. The one thing I have found that has made working environments, like I haven't done corporate in like 5-6 years now, so take this with a grain of salt. Okay, I see that one there. But the one thing that made any environment completely tolerable, whether it was military or corporate, is the freedom to walk away. Oh my God. Once I had my 6-month release put in for the military, life got great. Things didn't bother me anymore. My boss tried yelling at me once. I just looked confused. I'm like, Warrant, what? My replacement was already there. He was doing the work. She's chewing me out for something he did. I'm like, I don't know what you want from me, Warrant. Like, I left. I was just like, oh, you okay? It's like, I'm confused. It's like, I think she's yelling at the wrong guy. She can't tell us apart. Same thing with the corporate one. I just realized, yeah, if this job sucks, I can just leave, walk away. And then things don't bother you that would otherwise bother you when you're financially stuck in a place. So here, Resmunjo BR, another $2 super chat. Dude, I like your currency. Just go to R's. Technically, that's the fourth R. Just like the company. Yes, he's the jealous type trying to sabotage me. All right, so here's how that works. This is like a basic bitch sexual dynamics thing. It's called amogging. He's trying to amog you. Alpha male of the group. What it means is he's trying to pick a fight with you to challenge you, so you take the challenge, which establishes him as higher. Because that's the thing. If you're challenging somebody and he accepts your challenge, there's an implicit understanding that you guys are equal in some social hierarchy. It's not like, don't take this autistically. It's a fairly nebulous social term, but it explains it well. It's illustrative. It's not descriptive. Well, if he thinks he's a threat, then he must be equal to. It's why. And then with the expectation there is the girl going, oh, this guy's part of the game. It might not get him in there, but at the very least, it'll knock you down a peg, so she's not as interested in you, with the expectation that maybe she'll be more interested in him. That's why you got to remember, the reason he's sniping at you is because he's not at your level, whatever that means. It's just true. If the girl likes you, she doesn't like him, he wants to snipe at you, the easiest thing you can do is treat him like a 4-year-old calling you a poopy face. Laugh it off, poke fun at him. Like, his example I'll give you that kind of helps is like, you're at the bar, you're out with a date, and then you go up to the bathroom, and then some guy tries to sneak in and swoop in on your girl. You know, you walk up, hey man, shoot your shot. I'm gonna go get a drink. I'll be back in 5. Because like the dynamic of that is just amazing. Like, one, as a guy, you're establishing, I have enough abundance that like if you get this one, I'm not too concerned about it, which is very attractive. A girl knowing a guy doesn't need them but might want them. Oh, they love chasing things they can't have. I like that way. It puts the onus on the guy. It tells him flat out, I know what you're trying to do. I don't think you're going to do it, to the point that I'm not even worried about it. Shoot your shot, kid. One of my buddies from the Married Red Pill always said it the best when some guy was talking about, he did one of those like subtle things where it's like, oh, you better be careful. Somebody's going to take your wife like me. Dude, if you get her, I'll throw in the truck. I'll throw in the truck for free. Like, you're doing me a favor. It just, yeah, you just have to be nonplussed about it. Because the only thing you shouldn't do in these situations is treat it seriously to try and defend yourself to deer. Just don't. And it's funny. Because ultimately, none of this stuff matters. You're at fucking work. You're earning a living. Like you care if Cindy from accounting wants to suck your dick, right? Like you care if Billy's there doing this stuff too. Fucking help him out. Hey, man. Do you want me to put in a good word for Cindy with you? Sure. It's not going to do anything. If it would have done something, he wouldn't be sniping at you. He'd be busy with Cindy right now. So yeah, anything you do, the kinder and more magnanimous you are, the better off you'll be. Yeah, you can have her. Couch is getting bombarded. Chicks don't dump on my D. Any advice? Are you fucking kidding me? What is this? Do you guys want... Are you guys trying to get me to yell on the fucking thing? Because I'm not. I'm not going to yell at you guys as much as you probe me for this. How do I get the girls? I'm not Aaron Clary. That's his rant. I don't do the girls. I don't do the goddamn Democrats. My girl's dad is always trying to A-mog me. It's the funniest thing ever. Yeah. So yeah, Rismago, another 2 R's. Yeah, that's a lot of social intelligence. I got it. You got to remember with this stuff too, a lot of it is when people give you their narrative, they're trying to establish the frame or like the framing of the situation, right? You got to ignore that shit. Look at it for what it is. Look at what underlies it. In this case, if he's attacking you socially, it's because he wants to look better socially. Well, who does he want to look better to socially? Well, what can you do that looks better socially there? And that's it. It's usually, and it's counterintuitive. That's why this stuff is so effective. Because if people are following their instincts and their general ideas, they treat the stuff in one way. But the more attractive way is to treat it the other way. Cliff Unger, hey, howdy, hey, good to see you too, sir. Anyways, we got 15 minutes left. I don't know if we're going to talk about dicks. Let me slow this thing down. What are we gonna put up there? Oh, dude. Is it this one? Yeah. There she is.
Ryan Stone, another
It is just,
Oh my God.
If you're a young man, you need to figure out what you're trying to do with your life. You need to subscribe to this goddamn channel.
What the fuck?
Megan Fox with a dick or Hulk Hogan with a pussy.
Mel time. It's Mel time.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
You see that Waffle House there? There's murderers in there.
You have to conclude that Trump betrayed us.
socially retarded fat.
Seething.
Don't work with retard.
He's a halfway decent looking guy, a nice smile, can be a gentleman, snarky as even in person, yet he blocks me and talks shit about. Somebody find out their real names for me.
I am never not gonna love that goofy bastard. How can I not? Oh, hey Kyle, you made it in time for the. Hey, did Jack send you the invite? I think Kyle's coming on. They're doing the Trump thing on the Red Rule Zero today, talking about the executive orders. So, why are you doing this to me? In fairness, though, the one thing that's nice about having that snark is you at least know I'm not bullshitting you. It's the overly complimentary guys you got to be careful with. You can't trust them. Oh, I just realized I had the name set to Rhodesian in training. To be fair, there's been talk for like the last. I guess I'm gonna end it on like a more serious note. Like I know there's been talk happening. It happened a lot, but it's kind of gaining traction now where the expectation is that Canada probably won't be a country 20 years from now. It's just held together by duct tape. Like the French are only here because they're essentially being bribed. Federal transfer payments, but it's paying the French to be Canadian. And they're taking everything and they're costing a lot and everybody has to like coddle them in order to get those votes. Which is kind of annoying, but then Alberta is very resentful of that, and Alberta is very prosperous with their oil sands and that. So they've kind of reached the point where a lot of those people, like there's a decent minority of people there that want to separate. And in Quebec, there's still a decent minority, like almost 50% that want to separate. So the two, like the biggest voting bloc in Canada and the biggest economic bloc in Canada don't want to be Canadian. Right there, it kind of lets you know, like how sustainable could that be? BC has been taken over by communist China. There was just a thing this last week. This last, like 2024, China bought $1.3 billion in commercial real estate in Vancouver. And they already own 12% of the residential real estate market. So when I see goofy things like Doug Ford, our premier, wearing the Canada's Not for Sale hat with Trump, I'm like, when did that happen? So, yeah, so the Rhodesia in training is kind of referencing that. It's like, I don't see a path ahead. I see sloganeering and promising from the New Conservatives if there is an election, but as time passes, you're kind of starting to see like, the big joke right now, which makes me laugh. You know that scene in Game of Thrones where the dragon lady gets dragged out by all the slaves? Like she's covered by all the brown slaver guys and that, and carried across like crowd surfing. They're like, every time Polyev makes a post. It's just kind of funny. Yeah, they'll welcome us as liberators. And again, I don't know how much of this is fake gay retarded social media stuff, but economically, the case is starting to be a little less hyperbolic and more like, maybe. You never know. So part of me is wondering about that. What's going to happen? Economically, what changes is that going to make? Financially, what can you do with that information? And when is the good time for it? I don't know the answers to any of these things. I like looking, keeping my eyes open, because that's all you can really do. You have to have a level of discernment to understand, like, maybe this is all bullshit. I just made all this up. Who knows? Maybe it's just a bunch of AstroTurf bullshit and reality, everything is fine. And it's all just fear mongering. Who knows? But maybe, again, maybe I'm being conservative about it because I'm too old now to see it. Maybe the Zoomers are the best guys to ask. You don't know. Gen X here, it's yams. I actually like yams. I like yams myself. Look at the yams. I don't know why. It just for me, it's funny because yams aren't particularly big either. But when you're referring to them as yams, they are. Yeah, I'm for the 51st state, but it won't happen. Canadians have short man syndrome. Becoming a state is a bridge too far. Yeah, well, I know Ontario won't. If there is a Canada and it does split up, Ontario will be the Canada. That Upper Canada will return, which I guess that whole return to tradition thing is not exactly what they meant. I just like how the whole thing here is like yams and separation. But that's, I mean, it kind of makes me sad, but I realize, like, it's happened before. Dude, South Africa, the new president of South Africa, he's decided he's going to start taking land away from the farmers and redistributing it. So he's pulling a Zimbabwe, which I'm like, or not Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe. So it's kind of bad. And yeah, Sean's right. A lot of Canadians define themselves as the opposite of America. Dude, is that not slave morality to a T? Americans decided to heavily industrialize. Canada made its bones by saying we won't industrialize. We stick as a resource economy. And then we try to become a service economy. We do it not like the States did. Anything the States seems to do, we just don't do like a knee-jerk reaction because we have like, well, not us. Like there's a very good Canadian culture, but from the political class, the chattering classes, they always have an insecurity that there is no Canadian culture. They're not as cool as Europe. And that's true. Because the Ville de Quebec people, when they go to France, and they speak their most proper French, and they think they're all highty-tighty, and then the average French waiter's like, "Oh, you're from Quebec, aren't you? I could hear you oinking from here." They're like, "Fuck." Big insecurity thing. I can imagine the Ontario people are probably the same with the Brits. But yeah. Well, yeah, Kyle, we don't want Canada. You guys voted in. To be fair, nobody voted in Trudeau. If you look at this, it's actually... I have never seen a min-maxing this effective in Canadian history. He won the election with like 31% of the votes. But he had, because most of his votes are from federal employees because they want to keep the federal programs going in that, and then a lot of the immigrants coming in, he managed to put them in just in the right amount of places to get the proper votes needed in the right zones. So, yeah, it's like 1 out of 3. And that's, and the 1/3 of people that actually did vote for him, half of those have realized that's a horrible mistake. So I don't know, maybe not down and out yet. We'll have to see. Andrew Tate's Romanian passport, $5 1 cent super chat. Have you ever heard of Barnum statements? Container words, but for politicians. I have not. I'm actually curious now. I bet you, like, to see examples of it, I would know exactly what it is. Oh, the self-deception stuff. Okay, I get what you're saying here. Yeah, you give people just enough that they get to fill things with their hopes and aspirations and believe what they want to believe out of your statement. It's very effective stuff. To be fair, if I wanted to go full evil, like really researching this stuff, wordsmith some great things here to pander, It might be effective. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe I will. Maybe the next episode will be, holy shit, he's saying everything I wanted to know. How about that new elite hunting app? What the hell? Yeah, the Barnum statements. There's a Wikipedia on it. There is a Encyclopedia Britannica on it. Dude, Encyclopedia Britannica? They're making a comeback. Good for them. Decision Lab. Yeah, I'll take a look. Never know. He might have just given me some amazing insight into how full of shit I am, and I'm looking forward to it. Chuck Royale, $5 1 cent super chat. Been a while since I caught the live show. Still loving the bands, the books, and the bullshit. Thank you, sir. No, thank you. Thank you, sir. Yeah, the bands are some of my favorites because it's a lot of stuff I have that I don't have solid. Sometimes it's just processing it here, the back and forth with the audience. This stuff is great because some of my best ideas have come from the band sessions that we have on these things. And then the books, I just love the books. I like writing. Turns out I'm not half bad at it. Dog Walker, if you haven't pre-ordered yet, fucking pre-order it. I will say this though, if you don't pre-order it, I understand because the fucking hardcover and the paperback are just magnificent. Like, this is just the preview copy. The real one won't have that not for sale band on it. This is going to be way more colorful, but it's just a piece of art. It's a piece of art. It really is. And then just to reiterate, here's the procedure. Next week, Fuck Files is going live again. The 3rd edition, the extra chapters, the extra material is probably 20% new, and you're gonna love it. New covers, new softcover, new hardcover, new Kindle. Fucking amazing. R.A. Stone. 2 weeks of that to let you guys know. Then Dog Walker's coming out. The newest, the fiction piece. The greatest literary fiction in red-pilled history. Somebody finally beat out what's Clary's one about somebody, the shitting donkey or whatever? What the hell, Marty? Tu ne me donnes plus jamais. Oh, Jesus Christ. Des cours de français. Qu'est-ce que pas? J'essaie de me préparer à de manger au Québec. Jesus, buddy. The conjugations alone. Oh. I kind of understand, but yeah, it's yeah. Quack quack. And to be fair, if you want to use Quebec French, you abbreviate a lot of stuff. So like tu ne me donnes plus jamais. Yeah. Anyways, whatever. Chat, petite chat. To be fair, my French isn't much better. When French people hear me, they're like, "Oh my God, you sound like a black man from Germany speaking French." But then every now and then, because of the friends that taught me French are from like really backwater places like Scoutme, Sept-Îles, Trois-Rivières, is that picture a guy who's speaking English for the first time and he speaks like with a really thick whatever country he's from accent, but then every now and then he says like a perfect Alabama slang and you're like, what in the fuck is that? That's my French. Every now and then he sounds like a Campagnol from Scoutme. It's fucking funny. Look at this. Everybody's doing their shitty French now. We're going to end this one off. We have to... Oh, who's doing the host? I think it's Jack doing the hosting, isn't it? I haven't done redirects because like I'm just tired. And I'm like, you guys making me fight to redirect to your goddamn channel. I'm not going to do it anymore. Who's doing it? Paul's doing it? Oh, I don't see Paul's red rule 0. Son of a bitch. I see 18 live streams from Paul coming up. Not one of them is the Rule 0 one. Oh, there it is. All right, Paul's good. Paul's solid. Paul's great. There. Once we're done here, we'll go straight to him. We'll talk to him. I have to eat lunch, have a little mini date with the old lady, so I'm going to be late, but I will try to be there. I'll probably be tinkering with the book a little bit while we're on camera because, you know, last thing I need to have is a large speaking part on American policy documentation. But it'll be fun. It'll be bantz. Get to hear from the guys. Who doesn't love it? Minecraft, yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing, dude. I can't wait until all the books are out and everything there is done and things have quieted down because, like, I'm trying to do more Minecraft and get some more videos done in that. And it's just, as the lowest of the ROI activities, it's hard to get enough time for it. But I promise you guys, we're getting back to like just fun-loving stuff, a nice sustainable level. And one more surprise, because I haven't given you enough. I am planning, I don't know the dates yet, but it's going to be in the spring, trip down to Vegas. Clary and Rolo are down there. We are going to have some fun. We are going to make some content. It's going to be a nice... You're going to Vegas for a work trip? Yeah, I don't gamble. I don't want hookers. I don't feel like shooting guns in the desert. I don't ride dune buggies. I'm there to work. It's going to be so much fun because I'm with Clary and all he wants to do is hike. And I don't like walking if I don't have to. Fuck that. So keep your ears open for that. I'll probably have some indications of what's going on in the Substack. I am telling you guys, if you ever want to know what's going on with me, my work, my content, and the stuff that you might enjoy in the future, the Substack subscription is the place. It will email you everything coming up. And at the very least, like, just do the free subscription. There's paid subscriptions if you want to get in depth with the case studies and the field reports. Absolutely worth it. But for smaller stuff, lighter stuff, excerpts from the new book, updates on what's coming up new. Am I doing a collab with this guy? Am I doing with that guy? At the very least, if I get canceled because because Bruno actually finds my fucking real name, gets me canceled, that's the email is like the only place I'll have to still reach out to people. I refuse to be Stefan Molyneux. I refuse. It will not happen. And that's the way to make it. Oh, and of course, Orion 2. So I showed the preview of it. I guess for those of you tuning in late, I might as well do it again. New videos coming out soon. Go check out the ad. It's on Orion, the movie review channel.
Nice tuxedo. Nice tuxedo to die.
Have you ever wanted to watch Buddy Holly and Slash have a kung fu rock battle for the fate of humanity? Have you watched Mad Max or Fist of the North Star and thought, why can't this have more electric guitars? Have you ever wanted to see the mashup of genres taken to the extreme? Red Dawn meets Top Secret, meets a spaghetti western meets Mad Max meets Streets of Fire meets Buckaroo Banzai, and The Eighth Dimension meets King of the Kickboxers? Well, I have the story for you. In the age after the fall of Hong Kong to those damned filthy pink communists, a man, groomed for greatness by Jackie Chan himself, made one last love story to Hong Kong cinema with Americana stylings before riding off into the sunset with his gonzo director best friend, a silent protagonist in a world. Post-nuclear apocalypse teams up with an orphan boy on a quest to reach Las Vegas and succeed Elvis as the next king of Las Vegas. They are hounded by cannibals, wasteland bandits, bounty hunters, fellow guitarist samurai, the Red Army, and even Death himself, with only a katana, a hollow body rockabilly guitar, and the way of the samurai to overcome the odds. It's a labor of love. Hong Kong-trained American actor Jeffrey Falcon, longtime friend Lance Mungia put together the craziest mashup of genres since Buckaroo Banzai in this action-adventure comedy cult classic with a shoestring budget. These people squeezed blood out of a stone, then made it rock. It's not the greatest apocalyptic film, it's not the greatest rock film, it's not the greatest action-adventure comedy, it's not the greatest kung fu film, and it's not the greatest homage to Americana, but it is the greatest apocalyptic action-adventure comedy kung fu rock homage to Americana in history. It's Buckaroo Banzai, for millennials, the little samurai that could, and 90 minutes of a good time. It's Six String Samurai, 1997.
It's a fun-loving time for everybody. All right, see you guys. Real Zero.
$79T 2458 Learning Corp Little Red Riding Hood. Take one.
"40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone." Does that make sense?
Where they say there are Indian people pooping on our beach.
It's a spool of wire. 40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone.